za visa na vituko, kurudi nyumbani ukiwa umelewa, na kila mimi nilipokuuliza ulinijibu
it's none of your business.
Mwishowe ukaja ukanieleza maisha ya umasikini huyawezi, ukaona ubora heri tuachane, kila mmoja akajitafutie maisha.
Welcome to episode 3 of Afro Groove on your number one entertainment plug, Icon Radio. With me is a very, very special guest celebrating 50 years of music, great sounds from Kenya, contributing to a repertoire of such amazing music out of this country. With me is John Katana of Them Mushrooms. Karibu sana bwana Katana.
Asante sana, Nyokabi.
50 years.
Yeah.
1972 to 2022. That's 4 years before I was born.
Before you were just a blueprint.
I was a blueprint. Karibu sana. We're just going to dive into it. So the song we came in with was Nyambura. We're going to talk about that song later. But I would like to know, 1972, the country is barely 9 years old after independence. We're all thinking about country building, nation building. But then the mushrooms decide how we're going to build the country is with music. How did that go down at home?
Well, it went very well. It went down very well with our mother, but not with our father. He had dreams that one of us will be a doctor, one will be an engineer, and he had also written it down, you know. I was meant to be a priest. He wanted me to be a priest, and but we disobeyed that in a very loving way.
Wow. So priest, doctor, and then music.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So how did you guys get together? Whose idea was it?
Our elder brother, we are all musically inclined, but because he was the eldest, he started, like following other bands. His peers were in bands then.
Yes.
And then he came up with the idea, like, look, I need to start a band, because he was always out with bands.
Right.
And somewhere in 1969, he started this band which he called Avenida Success.
Uh-huh.
And then he started recruiting. He recruited our elder sister on the bass, and our late brother George on guitar, So the three of them were always out trying to do music.
Uh-huh.
And then it was late in 1971 that he recruited me and some other friends. And then 1972 is when we started Them Mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Let's just go back. Are you saying there should be a female member of the Mushrooms?
There used to be.
There used to be.
Yeah.
Wow, and she played the bass.
Yeah. Our elder sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How amazing is that? So you said you were all musically inclined. So I read that you first played in church. Or did you? No, your mom was a choir member.
Yeah.
And your dad was a choir director.
No. He just played for fun. Yeah, he was more into management and administration.
All right.
But he did play music.
Interesting.
But not really seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, John Katana on Icon Radio, number one entertainment plug. If you have any questions, your comments, please send them to 0788380030 on WhatsApp. You can call us on 0748140086. You can send us your comments on Icon Radio YouTube. Hi, Ruth Mugambi. I can see you. Thank you for watching. Please let everybody know we have the John Katana Harrison on Icon Radio. Okay, so let's go back. So I mean, this is just so amazing. So this is 1972. how old were all of you? What's the age group? What are the ages we're looking at? And were you in high school? Were you in college? What was going on?
I was in primary school, transitioning to secondary school.
Wow.
Yeah.
1972 or 1969? 1972.
1971, 72.
So you're in primary school.
Yeah.
So are you the youngest?
No, I'm the fifth born.
Wow.
Yeah, fifth born.
Out of a family
Of 7. 2
Wow.
girls and 5 boys.
Wow.
So all the 5 boys were in the band.
Were in the band,
Yeah.
including yourself.
Yeah.
So you play keyboard.
I started out as a singer. And then when we were having problems with the keyboardists, that's when my big bro said, no, you have to switch. And then I switched to the keyboard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's just, 50 years. So as we go on, we're just gonna play about 2 songs coming up. But as we go on, I'd like to know how you sustain a 50-year career in Africa, in Kenya.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on, we're building the nation. There are all these things coming at us. We're right in the middle of a Cold War. We're deciding, are we Russian? Are we going to go with Russia? Are we going to go with the US? And we decide we're unaligned. Then there's a lot of things that come with that in every area of life, including entertainment. Right? Yeah. Last week we had Rashid Jibril in the studio, and he told me something, or he told us something I'd never thought about, that during the Cold War, America really wanted, as many allies as possible. So, and they influenced foreign policy. The foreign policy around the world was to make sure that we were aligned to them. And it even permeated music, such that on the airwaves, we had more American music than we did our local music, part of the soft power. But when we come back, first we're going to listen to 2 songs, Nyambura by them, Mushrooms, and Unkulahu.
Miaka 20 iliyopita, mapenzi yetu ya peremende, tulipendana kama chapati na karanga. Mara ukaanza visa na vituko, kurudi nyumbani ukiwa umelewa. Kila mimi nilipokuuliza ulinijibu,
It's none of your business. Now sinilete.
Mwishowe ukaja ukanieleza, maisha ya umasikini huyawezi. Ukaona ubora heri tuachane, kila mmoja akajitafutie maisha. Niwaambie leo, niwaambie yule alokuahidi ahera. Niwaambie leo, niwaambie yule alokuahidi nyumba ya nyali. Ulinikataa mie masikini, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Sasa amepata manyanga nyingine, Unkulahu. Ulinikataa mie sina nyumba, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Sasa wanifuatia nini, Unkulahu? Niwaambie leo, niwaambie yule alokuahidi pajero. Niwaambie leo, niwaambie alojigamba atakupeleka shopping London. Ulinikataa mie ni fukara, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Sasa kapata ndogo nyingine, Unkulahu. Ulinikataa mie sina nyumba, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Sasa wanifuatia nini, Unkulahu? Niwaambie leo, niwaambie yule alokuahidi pajero.
You're tuned in to Icon Radio, your number 1 entertainment.
Yule alokuahidi nyumba ya nyali. Ulinikataa mie sina nyumba, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Nikome tena unikome kabisa, Unkulahu. waikata mie sina gari, ukenda na vishindo kwa sugar daddy. Sasa mbona waikata divosi? Unkulahu yuwapie leo, yuwapie yule alokuahidi ahera. Yuwapie leo, yuwapie alojigamba atakupeleka shopping London. Unkulahu dada nasaraju, unkulahu masikini nasaraju. Unkulahu dada nasaraju, unkulahu masikini nasaraju. Unkulahu dada nasaraju, unkulahu masikini nasaraju. Unkulahu dada nasaraju, unkulahu masikini nasaraju.
You're tuned in to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug.
Nikwe tete muno Nyambura.
Nogo.
That was Nyambura by Them Mushrooms. You're listening to Afro Groove, the show that hosts the very best of Afro sounds from the continent and everywhere in the world where you have Afro people. So in Latin America, the Caribbean, and North America, and Western Europe. With me in the studio is John Katana Harrison, band member of the legendary Them Mushrooms. As the songs were playing, John and I were speaking, and just before I actually went to the songs, we were talking about the 70s, where the airwaves were just about, actually 70s, 80s, 90s, until maybe 6-7 years ago, when there was, what do you call it, a directive to play more Kenyan music on the airways. For a long time, at least in the 70s, the music we heard was Motown and soul and maybe rumba from, Congo. In the 80s, it was, soul again, R&B, hip hop. And then when you went to the stations that played more local music, it was also more rumba than anything else. I think the question is, how did Them Mushrooms mainstream your music so that we heard it on the airwaves? You weren't that Kenyan band, that we randomly heard. No, your music was actually mainstream.
Well, we usually strategize to achieve whatever we want. And when we were in Mombasa, we reached the ceiling because we had done the beach hotel circuit. But at the back of our minds, we wanted to be known and be appreciated as a band for our own music. And that time, there was only one broadcaster, both TV and radio in the country. And that meant if you're not heard on the broadcast, I won't mention the name unless you give me the permission, then you wouldn't be known.
Right.
So that's when, in fact, that was the main reason we moved base from Mombasa to Nairobi, to be close to the media.
Mm-hmm.
So when we moved here, our strategy was to get to know all the prominent presenters
right
at that time.
Yes.
And the beauty of it was that when your song was played on the national broadcaster, then you are heard in Kenya and beyond.
Right.
So we made sure we got to know nearly 3 stations, the English station, the Swahili station, and one vernacular station, where we got to know all the prominent presenters. We reached out to them, and then gave them our music. We also got to know the person in charge of the music library.
Yes.
And we got our music, in the library.
Yeah.
So that's how our music started playing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Alongside the foreign music.
That's very interesting. Yes, you can mention the broadcaster. Then it was Voice of Kenya.
Yeah, it was Voice of Kenya.
And now known as Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Exactly.
And if I remember, the presenters then, your John Obongo Jr.'s, Jeff Mwangemi, Fred Obachi, who now is a very big name somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then also I remember on TV, there were a lot of your videos. There was a show that was hosted by Fred Obachi called Music Time.
Yeah.
And you were Them Mushrooms were a prominent feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about international presence or recognition. Jambo Bwana, 1982.
1980. Yeah.
Sells 30,000 records worldwide.
Yeah.
First of all, who wrote Jambo? That was what they call that was a brilliant idea. It was like a brainwave of sorts. Yeah, that is, the phrases have been adopted by Disney. We say Hakuna Matata, and we don't necessarily say Hakuna Matata as in general conversation, but you made it. You made it a phrase that we use. And now it's on Disney. Tell us the story of Jambo Bwana.
Well, Jambo Bwana was composed by my elder brother, Teddy Kalanda Harrison. See, this was the time when we were based in Mombasa. We were a resident band at a group of hotels
Right.
where we used to perform 6 nights a week. And usually when the tourists got to the hotel just from the airport, arrived, and they got to the hotel, they would be welcomed
Right.
by traditional dancers and then the waiters would say, "Jambo, Jambo, Jambo, welcome, Jambo," So one evening we had just finished a session at the Severin Sea Lodge, and
Yeah.
it struck Teddy that, hey, we can make a song out of this Jambo, the welcome, and then we just add our own lyrics to
Yes.
it. And that's what he did. We rehearsed the song the next day. And I remember once, the following Saturday, when we went back to perform, we got that song requested for almost 20 times in one night.
Wow.
And we knew this song has the potential to become a hit.
Wow.
So the recording happened also just like that. We were performing at another hotel on the South Coast, and one of the big boys from Polygram Records was on holiday there, and he had the song. He came to us and said, "Look, I like this song," because many people, we played it for the first time, and then a lot of requests came through, and he said, "Here's my card, come see me in Nairobi and we'll see how we can record this song." That's how Jambo Bwana got recorded.
Oh my gosh. And then after that, we suddenly you're listening, Boniem is singing Jambo Bwana.
That was a very sad story. We had toured Germany. We were on
Right.
tour in Germany for the first time. And we were trying to reach out to all the big producers, So a friend told us, "Look, I know Frank Farian. He's the owner and producer of the group Bonnie M.
Mm-hmm.
I can take you to the guy." So we go to the guy. We're so excited. We tell him, "Look, we have this song and we would like to record more songs here.
Yeah.
But we are squeezed for time because we are leaving within the next 3 or 4 weeks." The guy was those shrewd guys. He
Yeah.
said, "Okay, I'll listen to it and then I'll get back to you." He didn't, because he knew we were coming back to Africa and we don't know when we were going to go back.
Yeah.
We get back to Kenya, to Mombasa, after something like 3-4 weeks. That friend sends us Jambo Bwana by Bonnie M.
No way.
Yeah, there was no agreement, nothing. So we started this fight, it was a vicious fight to get back the rights.
Wow.
That's how it happened.
Oh my gosh. And at this point, Boniem is hitting the chart. So for those of you who don't know, so we're discovering that there's at least 3 generations who might not know who Boniem are. Boniem were, or still are, a Jamaican disco group from
German disco.
German. Oh,
Yeah.
they're actually German.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah, people
of
confuse them
Jamaican
to-
descent.
No.
Really?
Frank Farian is a white guy.
Yes.
He was a producer. What he did to us, he did to many other groups.
Right.
So the song Rivers of Babylon
Yes.
was from a West Indies group.
Yes.
And he did the same, exactly what he did to us. So he recorded, because that group was defunct, but a few members were still alive. Frank Farian took the song, re-recorded it, and made it popular all over the world. And people thought it was an original of Bonnie M.
Yes.
But then those guys got together, came to Germany, got a good lawyer, sued him. He had to settle with them out of
court.
Yeah.
So actually, I knew. So the Rivers of Babylon is actually a spiritual. It's an African American, or rather, our brothers who are sold into slavery.
Yeah.
Sung that
it's in
song.
the Bible. Actually,
Yes,
it's
it's a
lifted
verse.
from the Bible.
Yeah,
It's a verse in the
yes,
Bible.
it's
Yeah.
a verse in the Bible.
Yeah.
That the entire, by the rivers of Babylon where we wept
Yeah.
when we remember Zion. I think it's a psalm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they sang it as a spiritual. In fact, a few reggae bands have covered that song.
Yeah.
What I did not know is now the story you're giving us. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're here to prove that Afro groove is actually class. We're learning something here. Okay, so what's his name again? The producer? Frank
Farian.
Frank Farian.
Yeah.
So he gets these songs, have other people record them, doesn't pay anyone for rights. So did you guys follow it to its logical conclusion?
To its logical end. And then GEMA, this is like the Music Copyright Society of Kenya's counterpart in Germany,
Yeah.
got involved, and then they started collecting the royalties, for that song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I this is just fascinating. So Bonnie M took Jambo Bwana, well, Frank Farian took Jambo Bwana, tried to make it his.
Yeah.
Without crediting them mushrooms.
At all.
And they say karma is a... Wow, fascinating. So, we're going to play some more songs. One is Mushroom Soup, which I love because it's a mashup of three of your songs.
Yeah.
And then the next song we're going to play is one of your latest from 2016, Ni Jumamosi. When we come back, we'll talk about those two songs.
All right.
Ewe mrembo wa masika, kiume unaesifika, uzuri usio kifani, umbo lako wasitani, mwendo wako wa maringo, kiuno chako mviringo. Leo ni siku yako, tuonyeshe uzuri wako, halaiki yote macho kwako, tuna hamu na huba zako ndogo ndogo, wewe si kidogo, ndogo ndogo, uzuri wako si kidogo, ndogo ndogo, wewe si kidogo, ndogo ndogo, uzuri wako si kidogo, ndogo ndogo, wewe si kidogo, ndogo ndogo, uzuri wako si kidogo. Niatiare unyambura, niatiare oh my love, I love you Nyambura just like nyama choma. Niatiare unyambura, niatiare oh my love, I love you Nyambura just like fish and chips. Ila mini kikuona, ulimi hufunga kitanzi, na mate hunikauka, mimi hupumba, fahamu sina. Leo minajitolea, kwani nimekwisha shindwa, penzi limenizidia, imebidi nikueleze. Leo nakwambia ili upate kujua yaliyo moyoni mwangu. Leo nakwambia ili upate kujua yaliyo moyoni mwangu. Nyambura, I love you like fish and chips. Nyambura, nakupenda kama nyama choma. Nyambura, I love you like fish and chips. Nyambura, nakupenda kama nyama choma. Nyambura, I love you like fish and chips. Nyambura, nakupenda kama nyama choma. Nyambura, I love you like fish and chips. Nyambura, nakupenda kama nyama choma. Akumube.
Yathiyo mattress.
Mpenzi, njoo kwangu, naomba tafadhali unisikize, moyoni naumia, uzuri kama wako sijaona, nishike mkono, tuende kanisani tufunge ndoa, alafu twende kwetu Mombasa kisiwani tukaishi yaba. Akumube enyar Kisumu, akumube akumube enyar Kisumu. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Leo nataka ujirembeshe na ushine shine shine, uwe kama malaika. Leo nataka ujitokeze kidosho wangu, uwe kama celebrity. Leo mfuko wangu umejaa, nataka nikutreati, nataka nikupe raha. Oh, leo sitaki story na mtu, mimi na wewe tu mpaka kokoriko. Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Leo nataka ujipodoe na ung'are ng'ar ng'ar, uwe kama malaika. Leo nataka uvalie kidosho wangu, uwe kama superstar. Leo mapeni si tatizo, nataka nikutreati, nataka nikupe raha. Oh, leo sitaki maneno na mtu, mimi na wewe tu mpaka kokoriko. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Jumamosi, 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 naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Jumamosi, mpaka kokoriko. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi, naomba uvalie nikupeleke auti. Ni Jumamosi, tupige marashi. Ni Jumamosi,
So you're listening to
naomba uvalie
Afro, the show that
nikupeleke
puts the
auti.
very best of Afro sounds, and that means music from not just the continent, but Afro sounds from across the globe. In the studio, we have John Katana Harrison of Them Mushrooms. Them Mushrooms are celebrating 50 years in the business. No mean feat. So, John, I have a question for you. The song we've just heard, the one that's just faded out, Jumamosi, that is so different from, at least I'm imagining you are appealing to a certain crowd, but it's a banger. What influenced that song, or what was it that got you to compose that one?
Well, you see, we try to reinvent ourselves every 5 years or so. This was part of it. Generations have changed. We wanted to remain relevant to the millennials and probably generation next.
Yes.
And that's why we came up with this song. You see, it's a party song, nothing to do with what the topics that we cover mostly.
Yeah.
And we just wanted it to be a banger, probably.
It is a banger for sure. 2016. And the video is also very nice. We see all of you dancing. Right. So I have another question. We're going back. So you can choose how to answer them. So 1970s, you're doing the hotel circuit. You've recorded 1 or 2 albums. What was the response like from Kenyans?
It's funny. It's ironic that our song Jambo Bwana was not received very well when we released it locally.
Right.
Yeah. It's the tourists that really just were swept away by the song. So it went on like that until we started doing something different. You know, we recorded that in the pop genre.
Yes.
We sang in Kiswahili, but we recorded in the pop genre. So the target market was the European tourists at the coast. And then after that is when we did, now we started experimenting with a local genre, Chakacha.
Chakacha.
Yeah, so we started doing, in that first album, we had Luba Luba.
Yeah.
We have a couple of
Bonde
other,
Kwa Bonde.
Yeah, Bonde Kwa Bonde. And we saw the response was not bad, especially at the coast.
Yeah.
And then for our second album, New Horizons, is when we did the song Ndogo Ndogo.
Which
And
is my
that was a
favorite, by
banger.
the way.
Yeah, it became a big hit. So we knew, okay, locally, we have to do this kind of music.
Yeah.
And that's what we kept on doing. That's when we came up with Nyambura, we came up with Akumu, Nyakisumu. You see, they were all in the Chakacha genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I find is consistent. I mean, when I listen to all your hits, there's a consistency in the sound, in the rhythms, in the genre.
Yeah.
That was deliberate, I imagine, because of the response. How many albums? I'll let you say no, but how many albums and singles?
Okay, I don't know how many singles because we've done more singles than albums, but 16 to 17 albums we have released this
Wow.
far.
Yeah, 16 to 17 albums.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
They're all my favorite. It's very difficult because you get one song standing out in one album and then probably 2 songs standing out in the next album. So I find it difficult to be our own judge.
Right. Right. So I know I had talked to you about how we were going to ask the questions, but I've had 2 questions come into my head. Rather, it's just one. And this is about your social activism. 1990s, late 80s, 1990s were ravaged by AIDS. And you had a song. I guess the question is, there was a campaign, and I remember I think it was Raphael Tuju who spearheaded that campaign, or was I can't remember the details of it, but there was a show that came on air it was either Saturday after the news on TV or Sunday after the news. My memory serves me right. And Raphael Tuju would it was like a mini documentary of sorts. I remember Raphael Tuju would interview people with HIV, and then there was this entire awareness campaign about how you get it, and victims, and it was a whole what they call public awareness campaign. And I remember Them Mushrooms composed the theme song, which then became not just a theme song anymore. It became, of course, a clarion call, but also a hit on its own. Tell us how you got to be involved in this particular campaign.
Okay. Fact of the matter is, as a band, we've always involved ourselves in charity work.
Mm-hmm.
What they now want to call what do you call it?
CSR.
CSR, yeah. But we've been doing that since the 80s.
Right.
So when AIDS struck, we just decided that we have to do a song for revelers wherever we perform, because just to bring that awareness and all. So we did this song. We did not know about Raphael Tuju's show at all.
Wow.
Yeah. And then somehow Raphael picked the songs and he started using them on the show. And that's now gave the songs also some prominence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a coincidence,
I really looked for that song so that I could download it and play it, but I don't have it. But I promise when I do find it, I'll definitely play it in. But if you remember,
check. I think
it
it
was
should be there on
Ukimwi
our list.
Hatari.
Yeah. It should be on our Spotify list.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
No, Spotify and internet radio. There are a few license conversations we need to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember when that show came out, I was probably in standard 6, what they call grade 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember singing it every Monday with friends in school, just remembering what it is we watched, at break time. But
yeah,
I think it made a difference because it's stuck in our minds. But you're also involved in a campaign on fistula. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's one of the, like I said, we've always done that. Every 2 years, we pick something that the band will get involved with,
right,
in charity. So we did that in 2016. It was our idea. We approached the Freedom from Fistula Foundation,
yeah,
and told them, look, we have a problem. We've seen a problem in Kilifi County about fistula, and we would like to do something about it. And they warmed up to the idea, and that's how we had the program. We composed the song, and we donated the song to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've done the same on a campaign which we call the Save the Rhino campaign.
Yes.
Yeah, we did a song. We've done in the 80s, 1886, the Ziwani School for the Deaf, which is just adjacent to my primary school, Buxton Primary School, was broken into, and the hearing aids were stolen and all that. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so we organized a gala dance for that. We managed to raise enough money to buy new hearing aids plus extra, the beddings and all these things. So we've been doing that over the 50 years. The flip side of the band is what we call music, or charity through music,
Oh, wow. That's really fascinating. It's one of those things I don't know if, so first of all, CSR I think is very important. I think it in other countries, entertainers and musicians or artists get tax exemptions. Carry tax exemptions from once you're involved in charity. But that's also another way we get to know you. We get to see the other side of the band, like you're saying. Individually, what do you do? Is there anything else you guys do apart from giving us bangers?
Yeah, we initially we had a record company, record label.
Yes.
We had a studio.
I remember it was in Southlands.
Yeah.
It was in Langata.
It started off in Langata, and then we moved to Nairobi West, where our offices were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and where do you still have an office now?
We shifted base to Syokimau.
Aha.
Yeah, everything is in Syokimau now.
So what you're saying is the business of them mushrooms is giving us bangers, and it has been for 50 years. How do you sustain a career like that successfully in an economy like ours, in a country like ours, where a lot of times, when a child comes to you and say, Daddy, I want to go and sing, and they all look at you like, when ni jangili? How have you sustained that?
Well, it's not been easy, but we, like I say, we like strategizing, and we will do that on the music front, and then we will also involve ourselves in tours, and the tours like kind of keep us, because there's a time we would be out of the country for 7-8 months,
Right.
come back for 2 months.
Wow.
And then we took a break when now family started coming in, our
Yeah.
kids were, but now all our kids are out of schools, only a few are in university.
Right.
So we started touring again. We were in the UK
Yeah.
for 3 months this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that sustains us a lot. Besides the other things that we do, we're doing live performances. We have royalties from the music.
Yes.
Yeah, and we want to now venture into merchandise coming out soon. Keep watching our socials and you'll get to know.
We'll do that. You have a really cute mushroom logo.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm waiting to see that on your merchandise.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're talking
coming out soon.
Wow, okay. We shall, if I wish we get first dibs so we can put them here and show everybody.
Definitely. Definitely.
So talking about tours, how many countries have you toured? What festivals are there? World festivals where you've performed at? What was that experience the first time? And then is it something that you're excited about every time you're on a tour, or is it one of those things? Okay, it's work as usual. Yeah, tell us about the tours.
Well, we've had tours in many countries, especially in Africa and Europe. We've never been to the Americas, so to say.
Yeah.
But we've been to like countries like Denmark, Holland, Sweden, Switzerland, Italy, the UK, and so forth and so on. We've been to the Gulf countries.
Yes.
Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, many countries. And in North Africa, we've had shows in Morocco, East Africa, you can name all of them.
Yes.
But our best experiences were in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Yeah, because we went there once and then they called us for 5 years consecutively. Every year, for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And we were just mesmerized by the reception we always got from
Ethiopians.
From Ethiopia, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're about to go into, I don't see how many songs we can play. Gosh, I mean, your catalog, the Mushrooms catalog is so big. It was so hard for me to pick songs. So I said, okay, let me pick what's familiar and a few that are not familiar. When we come back, we'll talk about the Zilizopendwa album, because I think that's one of your most memorable, albums. I have an uncle and my dad who had that on their playlist, who still have it on their playlist. So the songs we're going to play next are Jambo Bwana and Wazee wa Katike. Keep it locked here on Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. Please send in your questions, your comments on YouTube, Icon Radio KE, on WhatsApp, 0788380030. You can phone in 0748140086. What questions do you have for them? Mushrooms, your comments, celebrate them, acknowledge them, anything you want to tell them, Mushrooms, this is your chance.
Jambo Bwana, habari gani? Nzuri
yakipendeza, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Kenya yetu hakuna matata, watu wetu hakuna matata.
You're tuned in to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug.
Usiibe, ukiiba we utafungwa bure. Usiue, ukiua we utapata dhambi. Usipige mke wako, ye atakutoroka. Usitusi mume wako, ye hataishi nawe. Tukatike wazee, tukatike. Hey.
Furahia miziki ya wazee.
Tukatike wazee, tukatike. Tukatike wazee, tukatike. Eh, 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 eh. Kweli ndugu, sikilizeni niwaambie. Kweli ndugu, sikilizeni niwaambie. Wakati nilipooa bibi moja mrembo, na kaleta hasara, kuvunja vunja vikombe, kuvunja vunja visani. Ndugu zangu wote walikata, ndugu zangu wote walikata. Walisema afunge aende, hatutaki hasara, afunge aende kwao, afunge aende kwao. Kweli ndugu, sikilizeni niwaambie. Kweli ndugu, sikilizeni niwaambie. Wakati nilipooa bibi moja mrembo, na kaleta hasara, kuvunja vunja vikombe, kuvunja vunja visani, kuvunja vunja vikombe, kuvunja vunja visani. Usiibe, ukiiba we utafungwa bure. Usiue, ukiua we utapata dhambi.
You were listening to Them Mushrooms. That last song was called Wazee Wakatike. So we're in the studio with John Katana Harrison of the Them Mushrooms band. They're celebrating this year up until, and he tells me up until December 11th, 2023, we'll be celebrating 50 years of Them Mushrooms. Now, I'd like to know, who were Them Mushrooms' musical influences?
Good question. We've had influences across the board. You know, when we started out, we looked up to Congolese musicians back in the day, like Verkis.
Yes.
You know, a little bit of Franco. Across the border in Tanzania, we used to do cover versions. So we listened to a lot of Mbaraka Mwishe.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, when we started thinking of going, international, then the biggest group that influenced the mushrooms was Osibisa from Ghana.
Right.
Yeah.
From Ghana, that
Yeah,
Ghanaian
yeah,
magical.
yeah. And that they influenced us so much. We listened to a lot of their music. And of course, Fela Kuti from Nigeria. We played a lot of Fela's music when we were doing cover versions.
Right.
So, like any other band, if you listen to our music, especially with the music we recorded in the 80s,
Yeah.
you could pick the influences from Osibisa. We had a similar lineup, a trumpet and a tenor sax.
Yes.
Just like them. And then if you listen to the breaks and the way we arranged our music, there's a little bit of Fela's influence in that. We were not so influenced by what was playing on radio, mostly like the Western music by, if you talk about Otis Redding and all those people.
Yeah.
We focused really on African musicians who were big that time.
Right.
So we came up with our own fusion, which now still works. To date, works for us.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I noticed. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I must let you know that the version we played of Jambo Bwana earlier was a Safari Sounds version, which brings me back to you are influences yourselves.
Yeah, in a big way.
Yeah, you've influenced a lot of musicians. And earlier before before the show began, we were talking about international and local artists whose hand you've held. Let's talk about them. Okay, here we can think. I mean, the ones that come to mind here are Princess Farida, Kanda Kid. Who else locally and internationally? Can you say
Let me start internationally. We when we started touring, we were in Ethiopia many times.
Right.
And we brought a young musician from Ethiopia, although he's late now. He passed on, called Shimeli Sararso. We did a collaboration with him. We recorded Jambo Bwana with him. He sang in Amharic and we sang in Kiswahili.
Oh, wow.
And the song went viral in Ethiopia. So that was a big success. Like you mentioned, Princess Farida came off our hands.
Yeah.
If you know the Pressman band who sang,
yeah,
they started us out under our stable. Most recently, and people don't believe this, we discovered Sauti Soul, and they acknowledged it in a newspaper write-up just the other day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In fact, to be very honest, they used to call themselves Sauti, the voices. So when I met them, I told them, no, you guys focus on doing what will take you to the world. Call yourselves Sauti. And then they went and added Soul. Yeah. I'm happy that after a long time, Bien came out, and it doesn't mean that they have anybody we assist or mentor has to acknowledge us.
Yeah.
It makes us happy. So there was a big, I put that story on our Facebook, and people are arguing, no, it can't be, it's true. But we've worked or mentored many Kenyan artists. Only that's part of our charity through music. We don't shout about it.
You're very humble, them mushrooms.
This comes from the Lord,
right?
Yeah, and if He uses us to bless people, so be it.
Oh, exactly. That's just so amazing.
Yeah.
So, any collabos with Sauti Soul in the future? Sauti Soul, collaborate.
Not yet.
Or rather,
we've discussed about it on several occasions,
right.
but nothing yet.
Or have them, or you feature. How does it work? You feature them, or they feature you?
Yeah. It'll come through soon. We've discussed it many times, but nothing concrete has come up. But for our 50th anniversary, we've been working with a couple of young music producers and even musicians. We gave them the free hand to reimagine some of our yesteryear hits.
Right.
And Umoja, there's an outfit that calls itself Umoja.
Right.
They've already done Nyambura and Ndogo Ndogo.
Oh, wow.
They've already done that. It's going to be released soon. I like what we had in the studio because they did the music, we are singing, and I think it'll be a good way of reaching out to another generation.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to listen to those renditions, and also can't wait for what you have in the coming year. Now, we've talked about Sauti Sol and Princess Farida and people you've mentored. The Kenyan scene is so different, and it's the Kenyan music scene. Let me qualify that. The Kenyan music scene in the last 10, 15 years the progress is just amazing to see. You know, about 2-3 years ago, there was a very heated debate. Was it 2-3 years ago? There's a very heated Twitter. It was on Twitter and social, and I think Facebook, on the quality of Kenyan music. I don't know. I'm not sure I have an opinion because when I listen to, I know we have really great music out there, and I cannot point to a musician and say, the music is wanted, because they speak to a specific niche in the market. As a person or a group that has been on this scene for 50 years and watch music in Kenya grow, what are your thoughts, or what's your opinion on the kind of music we're putting out there? What's the quality? What can we do more? What should we stop doing as artists? What are your thoughts?
Well, if we talk about music in general, the quality of music is good, but there's a question mark on the quality of lyrics.
Hapo basi.
Yeah. If you want to do music for commercial value in Kenya, then you have to do music that can be consumed by across generations, I would say. But if the younger musicians target their peers, and most who don't have buying power, you rub off or you alienate yourself. They alienate themselves from the people that have the buying power. So if your song, the lyrics of your song targets your peer group, and then you sing about stuff that the people that can buy have buying power cannot buy your music, you're really off the mark. And sorry to say, you see like Tanzanian musicians, young guys, but they're doing music that is taking
universal.
the world. Yeah, because of the lyrics.
Right.
You can do instrumental music. It won't be very, very big in most cases, but the lyrics of a song are what propels the song to become a hit. You get? The lyrics should impact the listener, either as entertainment or as, in inverted commas, a tutorial, something that teaches, But if it's music that just a particular group can listen to it, maybe from your hood, then it's really off the mark. Music should be for all people to enjoy and consume.
It should be, they say, it should tell all our stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So is that one of the ingredients that has sustained the mushrooms? Because your lyrics are so, first of all, they're very family oriented. Even when you're singing, even when there's a love song, it's very not general. It's something you can play to a 5-year-old, and they'll dance to. Was that deliberate when you're doing your lyrics?
Yeah, very deliberate. You can see even in a song like Ni Jumamosi, we sing what the youngsters are singing, but we're doing it in a very in a way that anybody can accept the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you're just saying, let's go out, let's have fun.
Yeah.
And that's it, basically.
Yeah.
There are no innuendos, so to speak. So now, Zilizopendwa, that album is on repeat on very many very many playlists. And so there's the music, basically all the songs are covers, but you've also you've tweaked it to the Mushrooms sound. You've still maintained the original flavor, you've still maintained the lyrics, but the album sounded like an ode, or it sounds like an ode to those who've come before us or before you in the industry. And that was one of your most successful albums. Talk to us about Zilizopendwa.
This was an experiment. We wanted to do something that will cut across. It will be nostalgic to the people that know the music and be accepted by a new young generation. So we went about composing some of the songs. When you listen to Wazee Tusakate ni rumba,
yes,
Nyama choma namo, those are our compositions. But many people mistake them to be from yesterday.
I think it's because of the style. Because of the style.
So it's a medley of very old Kenyan music and some of our own compositions, and it was an experiment, but it worked very well. The reception is beyond our expectation, because like you say, it's on the playlists of many radio stations in the country and beyond, and also in the playlists, if I may say, in many people's vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, because my Uncle G is listening. I hope it's you I am quoting. Yes, about that particular playlist. Yeah, I mean, you've played, and I noticed as my favorite is the one where you gosh, there's so many favorites. The one with Fundi Konde, you cover Fundi Konde.
Yeah.
You cover Robert Mukabi.
Okay, some of you see, with Fundi Konde, he was already retired.
Yes.
And we approached all these old men. We approached the late John Zenze. We approached Mzee Fundi Konde, and we spoke to them and said, look, we want to bring you back to music, because when we look at the first world, we see people, musicians in their 80s still doing music. And that's when we brought back Mzee John Zenze, and we recorded him. We did all the music, the arrangement, everything, and he just sang. We brought back Mzee Fundi Konde, and lucky from Mzee Fundi Konde, when we did the first production, immediately his music started playing around the world, and he started touring. Before he died, he had started touring. He went to Zanzibar, went to Germany because of that production.
Wow.
We also worked a little bit, but we didn't get to record with Fadhili William. We started doing a show with Fadhili William. We called him when he came back from America. We said, look, we want to revive your generation. We will do all the donkey work in our studio. We will do the publicity and everything. And we started holding shows with him that became very popular at the Pan Afrique Hotel. But before we recorded with him, he passed on.
Right.
So that was a project. Like I said, we always strategize to do something every 2 or 5 years.
Right.
That was part of that.
So speaking about our old crooners, your John Zenzes and your Fadhili Williams, their music, they didn't quite earn from their music, royalties. A lot of times they were conned. But when them Mushrooms started singing, they had been singing, I guess, some of them for at least 1 or 2 decades before you came on the scene. However, both your musics are timeless. The distinction I can draw between you, as far as recognition is concerned, is them Mushrooms. I don't know if it's this is a question, it's a statement. Them Mushrooms were very consistent, first of all, with your music, but also, at least on the surface, it seems as if you were recognized, through your royalties, licenses, and so on. Is it a factor of lessons learned from watching how the other musicians that came before you had it, or you were different in how you pursued what was owed to you?
It's all about lessons learned. Many people don't know that we went through that too. But then we learned and we started doing things, the paperwork, so to say, for all our music. When we recorded Hakuna Matata, the original title is Kenya Hakuna Matata, which people call Jambo Bwana. We signed off the rights to that song because we were so naive. All we wanted to do was hear our music on the radio. So we came, recorded the song. We were given a bad agreement. We didn't even read it. We signed it off. We signed the rights to Polygram Records. Then in 1983, we toured Germany. We had challenges trying to re-record that song because everywhere they said, we've checked, this song belongs to Polygram. So when we came back to Kenya, we started the fight to recover the rights from Polygram.
Right.
So we did that. And while we were doing that, now our eyes opened up to matters, intellectual property, and we zoomed into copyright and related rights. You know, this is the basket of all matters to do with the rights in music. So we pursued that. And it was in 1985 that we signed a new agreement nullifying and invalidating the cessation of our rights to Polygram Records. So we got
1995.
1985. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was progressive.
Yeah. And since then we said no.
Right.
And we took it upon ourselves to start sensitizing other musicians about matters copyright.
Which is important.
Yeah. And we do it today. We hold workshops around the country, which we call the business of music.
Yes.
To take this information to young musicians, up and coming musicians. We do that. Wow. Yeah.
That's just brilliant. I mean, I saw I think it was Nameless who had a song appropriated from him by a South African. Oh gosh, Nameless, please don't kill me. I can't remember the song. But yes, I mean, I was so impressed that and I suppose, like you said, maybe you set the precedent, or now we were more exposed, or the likes of Nameless were more exposed to know that, you know, if someone's playing a song or sing, or, you know, performing a song they do not have the rights to, then you go to court and you pursue it to its logical conclusion. Because I know Nameless went to South Africa, fought that case, and won.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, now there's what we're saying is the education is you have the rights to your music. You can sell those rights if you wish, but the law also protects you.
Yeah. Okay. Like it is said in copyright, copyright is universal. Number one, you don't have to register your song anywhere to earn the copyright. The rule is the moment you put your idea into a tangible medium, then copyright comes in immediately.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the universal rule.
That's the universal
So as
rule.
long as, because you can't copyright an idea. You can have an idea to sing a song like I Love You. I would have an idea that I would title the song I Love You. But when you listen to these two songs, the expression of the idea is what is registered.
Right.
Or
Or
copyrighted.
the expression of the songs.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Keep it right here. You're listening to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. You're tuned in to Afro Groove, the show that's all about Afro sounds from the continent and everywhere in the world where there are Afro people. So that includes Latin America, the Caribbean, North America, Western Europe. So we're going to listen to two songs, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you, it's a question I've asked my guests. So far I've had two guests. What you think, how you think the government can support artists. Keep it locked.
Mombasa, 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 Mombasa nzuri, mji wa amani. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa furaha. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa amani. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa furaha. Mombasa yapendeza usiku na mchana. Fanya ufike Mombasa uone mwenyewe Mombasa ilivyo, yote mwakaribishwa. Mombasa, 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 Mombasa. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa amani. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa furaha. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa amani. Mombasa nzuri, mji wa furaha. Mombasa yavutia mchana na usiku. Fanya uje Mombasa uone mwenyewe Mombasa ilivyo, yote mwakaribishwa. Mombasa, 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 Mombasa. Mombasa, 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 Mombasa.
You're tuned in to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug.
Bonde na magendo yako sitaki. Teremka bonde kwa 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 bonde na magendo yako sitaki. Leo ni leo. Leo ni leo. Kesho ni kesho. Kesho ni kesho. Leo ni leo. Leo ni leo. Kesho ni kesho. Kesho ni kesho. Teremka bonde kwa bonde na magendo yako sitaki. 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 Leo ni leo. Leo ni leo. Kesho ni kesho. Kesho ni kesho. Leo ni leo. Leo ni leo. Kesho ni kesho. magendo yako sitaki. Teremka bonde kwa bonde na 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 magendo yako sitaki.
You're listening to and watching Afro Groove on Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. Afro Groove is the show on Afro sounds from the continent, and everywhere in the world there are Afro peoples. With me in the studio is John Katana Harrison of the legendary Them Mushrooms Band, who are celebrating 50 years of great music. John, in 2009. Sorry, I just to be clear, guys, I asked permission. I was given permission to be on first name basis. Otherwise, he would be Bwana Katana. No. I'd been calling him Bwana Katana up until he walked into studio and said, "No, respect me from inside." So Bwana Katana, 2009, head of state commendation by our late president, His Excellency Mwangi Kibaki. What was that for you the moment you received the news?
When I received the HSC, I was elated because it came from nowhere. I didn't expect it. I was just called, and they said, Presidential Music Commission called me and said they wanted to get my details and all that. I asked for what? He said, you'll receive an official document which will explain everything. And then the next thing, I get a letter saying that I have to be there for this at this function because I had received the head of state commendation from late President Kibaki. And to me, it was like, thank you, God, These are things that you don't take for granted. If the head of state gives you such a recognition, many musicians die without getting a recognition even from their wife. So this was very big for me and for us and for Kenyan musicians.
Right. I mean, it's a validation of all the hard work the mushrooms have put into your craft. You were surprised. We weren't. In fact, it was one of those things you say, it's been a long time coming. Yes, that was 2009, but I mean, in 2009, that had been over 30 years, 40 years of great music. So while we're still talking about commendations and acknowledgements, let's talk about the government and support that it gives to artists. And first, I guess, what kind of support from the government? In particular, I guess the music falls under the Ministry of Sports and Culture. They do more. What else can they do? Not just for, them mushrooms celebrating 50 years, but for musicians now and musicians coming up.
From this regime going forward, you can see from history in Kenya, because it's only now that the government is getting to realize that in the first world, the creative industry is so big and really impacts those respective countries' economies. And we can do it in Kenya. If you look at Nigeria, Nollywood is the second biggest honor, for Nigeria,
Yeah.
like what tourism used to be here
Yeah.
for Kenya. So we can learn from other countries. Now, going back to the government, past governments have not really, in a true sense of the word, really given the necessary required recognition and support to generate the creative industry and more so music.
Right.
Because I think the governments, consistent governments, never knew that if the music industry is well structured, well supported, this problem they keep talking about, creating employment for the youth, can be halved.
Yes.
Because a successful band, for example, will get the services of a lawyer or a law firm,
Yes.
designers, transporters. It spills over the entire spectrum.
Sound engineers.
Yeah, it spills over all sectors of the economy. Why I say so? A good product, let's say a good soft drink, cannot be sold or marketed without music. The music jingles. People look at music just as what people play on stage. No, music is big. For each and every station or broadcasting house in the world, when they open the stations, they have the signature tunes. That's music. When we have national celebrations, we open that with the national anthem. That's music. So once the government realizes how big an impact music can have on the economy, and they focus to that, support it,
Yeah.
we will see great changes in Kenya's economy. Great changes. This is something that was not there in the past. And I'm happy we are seeing, even at yesterday's Uhuru Park celebration, the government spoke about the creative industry. The governor of Nairobi, Chakacha, spoke about the creative industry and music in general.
Yeah.
So we are headed somewhere.
We are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see, a lot of people know, first, American culture is American music for many people. Cuban culture is son, the music, for many years, the DRC Congo, before you know that they have diamonds and cobalt and so on, they have a rich musical heritage. That's because music is a universal language. It speaks to everybody. It speaks for everybody. It tells our stories, like I said earlier. I'd like to see my vision, because we really have great music in this country. The Mushrooms is an example of that. We have, we've just talked about John Zenze, the Sauti Souls of this world, Atemi Oyungu, and so on. People don't know that about us. And yet, like you're saying, it has a potential, just like athletics has done for us. And even then, there's still conversations that can be had so that we're known, our athletes are celebrated some more. Our music can also carry our story as a country.
Definitely, yes. And it's the easiest way to market any country. America goes to the world. Besides technology, it's the music that has taken the brand America all over the world.
Yes.
That is exactly what Afrobeat from Nigeria is doing to Nigeria now.
Yeah.
Kenya can do it. We have everything that we need. We have, I'm digressing a little bit. Kenya has 3 fiber optic cables that make internet so accessible all over the country. It has all these things, but that final push from the government to make things work,
One of the things I've said this, I think, in the past 2 episodes. I really hope Waziri Ababu Namwamba is listening. Ideally it should work that he's a young mind, he's exposed, and some of these things that artists like yourselves are saying hit home for him.
I want to say he's on it, because he, like you see, within the first 100 days in office, he's already had stakeholders meeting with the creative
Yes.
industry, which is very good. Now, holding a meeting is one thing. Implementing a few of the things that come off that meeting is another thing, and being consistent with it throughout, his term in office, so that he sets the foundation where now the creative sector or industry will come up. Kenyans are very innovative. Kenyans are very resilient. All we need is a conducive environment. So the music needs that conducive environment and that level playing field that can be created by the government. And of course, whenever they have functions outside the country, this is the time to involve Kenyan musicians in those events or functions all over the world when they have them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're listening to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. With me in the studio is John Katana Harrison of Them Mushrooms. Them Mushrooms are celebrating 50 years of great, great music. These are some of our original ambassadors, Kenyan ambassadors to the world. We are going to listen to a few more songs by Them Mushrooms, and then we'll come back with more on the 50-year celebrations.
You're tuned to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug.
Singuo, utaomba mtu, mtoto singuo, utaomba mtu baba. Kosa wako utalia sana, kosa wako utalia sana, ukikosa wako utalia sana baba. Masikini sina wangu masikini mi sina wangu nakosa wangu minalia sana mama. Tukatike isikuti tukatike, hey mwana wa ingo tuende Kakamega, omurina wanje ni mwana wa mbere, omurina wanje ni mwana wa ingo. Tukatike isikuti tukatike, tukatike okudio. Singuo utaomba mtu, singuo utaomba mtu, mtoto singuo utaomba mtu mama. Kosa wako utalia sana, kosa wako utalia sana, ukikosa wako utalia sana mama. Masikini sina wangu masikini mi sina wangu nakosa wangu minalia sana mama. Tukatike amutiba tukatike, hey. Tukatike amutiba tukatike, hey. Tukatike isikuti tukatike, hey. Singuo utaomba mtu, singuo utaomba mtu, mtoto singuo utaomba mtu baba. Kosa wako utalia sana, kosa wako utalia sana, ukikosa wako utalia sana baba. Masikini wangu we, masikini sina wangu we, nakosa wangu we, minalia sana mama. Singuo utaomba mtu, singuo utaomba mtu, mtoto singuo utaomba mtu mama. Wamsheba wamsheba aye.
This is Afro Groove, and with us in the studio is John Katana Harrison of Them Mushrooms, celebrating 50 years of great music. So I have a question from a listener. Our listener's name is Jane Kinyanjui, and she asks, what would you say helps the band stay together after all these years, considering many bands local and elsewhere break up after just a couple of years together?
Well, the number one thing we respond to such a question, we say it's God's grace. Number two is the discipline instilled in us by our late mother. Forever we'll be grateful to our late mother because she was a disciplinarian.
Right.
And she ruled over our rehearsals, ruled over our performances. She came to our performances. And if you messed up, you should know that you might not even have dinner at home. So that really shaped the way we operate. And she always, I don't know where she got this from. She said, the stage is your office. Just like the banker or a bank teller goes to the bank to work. She used to insist when we were young, say, that is your office. If I ever see you messing around at the office, you will not have dinner or lunch a bit. Because we are 18 and something, I say.
Right.
But we were living in the same house. So that played a very big part in shaping the way we conduct ourselves, musically speaking.
Wow, I mean, that's just amazing support from, and I imagine your mom was very progressive, like in the 60s and 70s, she's telling you that about your craft. That's really, really great support.
Yes, she was. It was taboo for the youth to indulge in music when we started out, but she stood by us. And then later on, just as an example, later on when 3 of us brothers in the band donned dreadlocks, then, funny stories started coming up. Oh, you've let your kids, indulge in drugs and look at the hair. It was taboo for. But then she said, I know my kids. And if donning dreadlocks means one indulges in funny habits and all that, I'm going to don dreadlocks. You know me, so I'll be the yardstick. And she donned dreadlocks for about 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And she said, you know me now. Tell me, am I into those bad habits that you think? So that was the kind of support we got from our mother.
She had such vision and such faith in her children.
Very much. She bought us the first ever drum set.
Yes, you say that in what's the song, Mama?
Yeah. She stood by us. Like I said earlier, our dad wanted us to be,
Doctors.
Something different.
Yes.
And she used to even have, not quarrels really, but arguments with her. Waache watoto wafanye vile wanataka lakini tusimame nao. Let them do what God has wants them to do, but we have to be there to show them the right way. That's what she used to tell our dad.
And did your dad change I imagine your dad changed his mind later on, seeing your...
No. Unfortunately, our dad died in 1972, and then mushrooms October 1972. But like I said, my elder brother and my sister were already, indulging in music,
right,
which didn't please our dad. And our dad passed on in October 1972, and the band was formed on the 12th of December that same year. Just after we laid him to rest, we came back to Mombasa, and Teddy said, because Teddy was in Makerere University,
right,
he had to drop out of university in Uganda to come and take care of the family. So that's when he started the band.
It's a family that plays together, stays together.
So
there's your answer, Jenny. So we're coming to the end of the show. First of all, we want to say thank you from the bottom of the deepest part of our hearts for honoring us with, I'm so honored to have you here. That you said yes. All I did was send you a message, and then we spoke, I think, for 2 minutes, and then you're here. That was just, first of all, I'm starstruck. You must know. You must have felt that during the conversation. But I'm deeply, deeply honored. Them mushrooms celebrating 50 years is, a lot of relationships don't last 1 year. 50 years, a band, 2 different, I can imagine the different personalities, but you've rightly told us that, a family that plays together stays together. So I imagine there's a lot of things happening in 2023 as you celebrate these 50 years. Would you like to share with us what some of those are, how Icon Radio can plug in
Thank you for that opportunity. Number one, we are working on a documentary of the band. By God's grace, we've managed to archive almost everything about the band spanning 5 decades. Name it, photos, videos, newspaper cuttings. So that's going into our documentary. And we also have a draft book, autobiography on the band.
Wow.
Waiting publication. We want to do a family show because most of our peers, the fans that used to frequent our shows back in the day, are now family men. Some are even grandparents.
Yeah.
And they couldn't, turn up for the event on last Sunday. So we're planning a family show to be announced in due course. We are launching our merchandise in January.
Yes, I hope Icon Radio has first dibs.
We will let you know. Most probably in January. So, and of course, there are a couple of other activities which I would not talk about prematurely.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bwana Katana. I'm going to have to say Bwana Katana. Now it's stuck. I will really try and be first name basis, but now it's stuck.
I gave you the permission to call me Katana because titles don't really matter. It's the respect that comes from within that matters. Yeah.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for gracing Icon Radio Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching John Katana Harrison on Afro Groove, only on your number one entertainment plug, Icon Radio. We're now going to sign off with a song. It's actually titled Zilizopendwa by Them Mushrooms. Watch out for the amazing stuff Them Mushrooms are up to as they celebrate 50 years of giving us great music. Till next week, asante sana for joining us. Your host has been Nyokabi Kimari. See you next week on another edition of Afro Groove on Icon Radio.
Mama Colola, 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 Mama Colola, Colola, Embedodo, limelala mchangani, Embedodo, limelala mchangani, wahuba na mazoea, uwe wangu wa milele. Wahuba na mazoea, uwe wangu wa milele. Colola, Mama Colola, Colola, Mama Colola, Embedodo, limelala mchangani, Embedodo, limelala mchangani, wahuba na mazoea, uwe wangu wa milele. 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 Ajali haikingiki, asainipo Mola mwenyewe. Kweli ajali haikingiki, asainipo Mola mwenyewe. Ni chombo imara chenye thamani, kilichopasishwa Uingerezani, kilinguruma ligoni likatiririka, wale pasenja wakapelea bahari. Dereva kombo, ungama zako zimekwisha, kwetu Mombasa jirani wasikuashirika. Tuliona hivyo, kwaheri. Tuliona hivyo, kwaheri. Tuliona hivyo, kwaheri. Tuliona hivyo, kwaheri. Nilitoka kwako juzi nikitaka kukusabahi, mamio alinijibu mwezio hayuko katoka. Kamuliza kenda wapi, akasema hajui vema. Nilipita vichochoroni na kukuta ukinywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa. Nilitoka kwako juzi nikitaka kukusabahi, mamio alinijibu mwezio hayuko katoka. Nikamuliza kenda wapi, akasema hajui vema. Nikipita vichochoroni na kukuta ukinywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa, umekwisha potea, umekwisha potea. Wapotea mtoto mzuri kwa kunywa changa. Mbali kule kokotoni, moyo hufanya manyezi, ni kukosa fortuni. Siku za pita, sina usingizi, sina furaha moyoni. Kwani nivyo kuzoea, kwani nivyo kuzoea, kwani nivyo kuzoea. Kubwa yako rangi ilivyoningia moyoni, nikenda mbali sishindi, kukwacha kweke tunduni. Siku za pita, sina usingizi, sina furaha moyoni. Nakumbuka mazoea, nakumbuka mazoea, nakumbuka mazoea. Nakumbuka mazoea, nakumbuka mazoea, nakumbuka mazoea.
Kina mama oya, tunayo hatunayo.
embe dodo imelala mchangani, kwa uba na mazoea uwe wangu wa milele, kwa uba na mazoea uwe wangu wa milele, kwa uba na mazoea uwe wangu wa milele, kwa uba na mazoea uwe wangu wa milele.
Sijampokea, sione wala sisiki, nimemzoea. Kazone rafiki ni wangu maridhia, hana makubwa hajali, nisemalo husikia, japo sasa yuko mbali, moyo wangu namwachia, moyo umemkubali, umemzoea. Kazone rafiki ni maridhia, tafunga yangu safari, nende kumtembelea. Rafiki yangu yumbali, nashindwa kuvumilia, japo sasa sina mali, ndiyo kidunia. Kazone rafiki ni wangu maridhia, wengine wana maswali, binadamu hashindiki, uleta lile na hili, haja yao iwe dhiki. Hata hivyo siwajali na siwashiriki, kazone rafiki ni maridhia. Simuimbiki hadithi, mambo yakiwa mazuri, basi ni harusi wenu. Kazone rafiki ni wangu maridhia, kwa kina kazo simbali, ni mjitu wa Malindi, niondoka kwa gari, endo kama wasambili, uingia kwa fahari, ninapowasili. Rafiki na maridhia, hapo kwa gari mwendo kama wa saa mbili, ingia kwa fahari ninapowasili kwa wangu rafiki na maridhia. Ingia kwa fahari ninapowasili kwa wangu rafiki na maridhia. Ingia kwa fahari ninapowasili kwa wangu rafiki na maridhia. Asante sana.